Raymond Vickery, let me start with you first, because there's this fog of war and it's becoming increasingly difficult to establish who was behind that attack on the hospital. But today, President Biden was in Tel Aviv and he said, from whatever he has seen, it appears that that bombing was carried out by the other team, his words, and not by you, meaning Israel. So how much of a fillip does that give to Israel's claim, the IDF's claim? And now that Biden has said this publicly, do you believe it's also bases independent assessments by the Pentagon, by U.S. intelligence, and not just going by what the Israelis have claimed?
Well, thanks very much for having me. This indeed is a very serious turning point, I believe. I want to step back and say how extraordinary it is for a president of the United States to go to a war zone. And I believe that President Biden is doing this basically for one reason, and that is to try to keep the fire, the war from spreading, and particularly getting Iran and its proxies into the war. So I think his message is one, yes, support for the Israelis in the face of what is obviously a terrorist attack. Terrorism has been a focus of the government of India as well as the U.S. And Israel. But two, to try to open up a corridor for relief. He has announced just a few minutes ago additional funds and progress in terms of opening to Egypt for this. But there's no question that it seems that the whole narrative that this was Israeli bombing of this hospital is coming unraveled. You've seen the video. The video shows a great flame, which is not consistent with the kind of strike and aftermath that you would have from missiles. Mm-hmm. I would also point out that this is a Christian-run hospital, and so there is that aspect to it. I think it's circumstantial, but you have to look at who does this benefit. President Biden is there to try to keep the war from spreading, to minimize casualties, and this strike, it really blows a serious damage into that. Now, who benefits from that? It's not Israel that benefits from that. It seems to me it's clearly Hamas, Islamic Jihad, and those who want to widen the war. The cancellation of the face-to-face meeting, of course, is a setback, and so I think you have to look at it from that perspective as well.
So, Rohan Gunaratne, before I get to whether this will spread into a regional war, what happens to Biden's efforts to try and contain this between Israel and Hamas, and of course, Raymond Vickery is right. He was supposed to go to Jordan, meet with the leaders of Jordan, Egypt, and Palestinian Authority. That's not happening as a consequence of it. I'll get to all of that in 1 second.